Hi, it is Tootie Tagerly coming to you live from San Francisco on a Tuesday, a little earlier than usual. And I'm going to talk about the different leadership styles, leading from front, leading from the side, leading from behind, and really how different types of leadership need different timescales. Um, so definitionally, there's going to be some vagueness, especially around leading from the side versus leading from behind. But let's start with the really clear one. When we normally think of leadership, it is the fearless leader who is leading us from the front. It could be the product manager who is setting the roadmap and the vision of where things need to be done. So that's a positional type of leadership, assuming that like mini CEO of the project. It could be the manager, VP or CEO of a team saying, hey, this is where our company is going 5 years into the future. Or on the more negative side, it could be the CEO saying, hey, we need to really get our budget and cost cutting in line because we're not going to be able to raise any more money in the next 3 months. And here are our strategies for cost cutting for the long-term benefits of the company. So leading from in front is decisive, it's strongly opinionated, and it's our traditional view and definition of leadership. Someone who has a strong opinion, someone who's passionate, someone who's inspiring, and someone who can be like, hey, this is how we do it in a calm way. Leading from in front, this traditional style of leadership often gets things done a lot faster because someone is taking authority, taking the decision making position and saying, here's how it is. And when that happens, when there's trust built up within the company, it can be pretty fast to get things done. So let's talk about two other forms of leadership. And I'm realizing even as I'm talking that there's some fuzziness with this leading from beside, leading from some people call it leading from the side or leading from behind look like. The reason why I'm bringing this up is I've talked to so many people who believe that, oh, I'm not a leader because I'm not a manager or I'm not the product manager. I don't have that title, that positional, or that gravitas to be that leading from the front. So many people have talked or written about this. Probably one of the most famous writing is Nelson Mandela in his autobiography talks about not necessarily having to be the freedom fighter in the front, but using an analogy of a shepherd herding and getting the whole flock moving in the same direction, making sure to continue the momentum, making sure nobody gets left behind. That is, I think, a standard definition of leading from behind that anyone can do that. An individual contributor who is really passionate about a particular project, whether it's something related to maybe diversity and inclusion, opening the pipeline of hiring people, or even a particular side project, a hack project that they're determined to make happen. That is one way of leading from behind. Leading from the side, and I'll admit I'm a little hazy on the differences between that as well, but there's something around leading from the side which is, hey, convincing, getting your peers to move in the same direction, building those cross-functional relationships, that's on the org level. And think about in a meeting what leading from the side is. Leading from the side is really, all right, this is my opinion. I'm going to serve as a leader to express my opinion, to be vulnerable, to share what I think the perspective on this issue is. And I'm also going to act as a peer and draw out other people's opinions. I'm going to pay equal attention to who's speaking, who's listening, and draw all of that out from everyone because we are all co-leaders here. Cool. So we talked about leading from the front and talked about how, hey, when you're leading from the front, you can get things done pretty quickly. You're like, all right, here's this project. This is how it's going to serve our customers. We're just going to execute it and it's going to get ideated and maybe we're going to ship it within the next 1 to 4 months, depending on your industry and your time scale. However, if you're leading from beside or leading from behind, the time scales are completely different. Leading from beside and leading from behind will take a lot longer than leading from the front. It's the same thing, if you're the little mama duck, getting her little bunch of ducklings following you to get from A to B, that's pretty straightforward. That's pretty linear. But think about Nelson Mandela again, this shepherd herding sheep or herding cats, it may be. It takes a lot longer when you don't have that positional authority, when you need to slow down and get everyone on the same page, build trust, and slowly get everyone moving in the same direction. Another good example of many projects and people leading from behind and leading from beside are projects that really impact deep, deep cultural change. It might be, I have clients who work in pretty older, old school companies which still operate on a little bit of waterfall mentality, wanting to change the culture from a waterfall mentality to a sprint-based mentality. And these are kind of older enterprise software companies. That's a project that is leading from behind. Anything that deeply hits at values, culture, process, all of these projects take leadership from behind because you can't just dictate culture from the top. I mean, maybe you can if you're a 10-person startup, but for anything larger, all of that stuff takes examples, takes modeling, takes saying what the values and the culture is, but also demonstrating it, living it, having the case studies, having every single person experience it and realize what that difference is. And you do that by leading from behind because you can't shove culture and processes down someone else's throat. So I wanted to share the different ways of leading from the front, very traditional, get things done quickly, leading from the side and leading from behind. And the one I think crucial insight is, man, when you lead from the side and you lead from behind, it is going to take a heck of a lot longer because culture and process changes, implementing new diversity and inclusion initiatives, widening the hiring pipeline, all of those things take months, years, maybe even decades to change. And as leaders, we expect things to happen quickly in the quarter, in the half, and yet we need to expand that time scale when we take on these bigger projects that need leadership from behind. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you next week. Bye.